Are you getting enough protein in your diet? How much protein do you need? We're busting myths today about how much protein you need in your diet in order to heal. Hello and welcome to this growing community of people who are ready to heal their anxiety, depression, and other weird mystery symptoms through food, diet, and lifestyle. I'm Carrie Bailey, your functional nutritionist. I encourage you to follow your inner guidance with the information I provide, because the information I provide is general in nature and may not be specific to you. Millions of Americans are sick and struggling with their health today. The food industry, medical research, and trendy diets are pushing high protein diets. It's not really the protein that your body needs to heal. It's the nutrients within specific foods. It's about choosing foods that are the most nutrient dense. You want to get your vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and all those other micronutrients out of the food in order for your body to heal. Clients often ask me, how much protein do I need? It's more about micronutrients than it is about the macronutrients. But let's talk about that. There's a lot of obsession, again, about protein. Are you getting enough protein? How much protein do you need? If you read online, it will tell you that the recommended daily allowance for a 125-pound person means that you need 45 grams of protein a day. Some doctors, authors, and influencers will tell you that you need 150 grams of protein a day. If I were to eat 150 grams of protein, I wouldn't have any room left for my fruits and vegetables, period. It's really very fear-based. I encourage you to listen to your body. What is your body telling you? How much protein do you need? How do you feel when you eat protein? For instance, when you eat animal protein, when you're eating it, does it feel good? Do you have enough stomach acid to break it down? Is your liver producing enough bile to break down the fat that's in that protein? And how's your pancreas doing? Is it able to release the enzymes it needs to digest that food? I ask people to really tap into their body. How does your body feel when you eat, not only when you eat animal protein, but at different varying amounts, right? Like maybe you only need 2 ounces of animal protein, or if you're eating, 12 or 16 ounces, is that too much? That's the question. And that's what you got to assess by connecting with your body. I believe it's really the money makers that are out there pushing protein. And this has been going on for many, many years, probably since the 30s. I remember, as a kid, there was always a push for the dairy industry. And you probably remember the Got Milk commercial. I don't even know if it's still around, but, the dairy is a high protein food. And so people are pushing that a lot. And that's actually what a lot of times what vegetarians will use in their diet as a source of protein. The other push for protein is this fake meat, this Beyond Beef or Impossible Foods companies who come along and put together protein powder and put in other ingredients to form what seems like a texture of meat. But this is just junk food. It is a processed food. It is not nutrient dense. And I would argue, if you are vegan, vegetarian, that you really don't need that much protein that they have in that. And those aren't the nutrient dense foods for you to heal. Let's talk a little bit about what things are proteins. You've got eggs, you've got milk, yogurt, cheese, beef, chicken, pork, beef, right? These are your proteins. Now, if you're vegan or vegetarian, obviously if you eat meat as well, you're going to have nuts and seeds and tofu. Beans can be protein as well, but they're really a much starchier version of protein. So I'm really focused more on, again, the proteins that people are pushing. Generally, I recommend not to eat eggs and dairy, and you can learn more about that in my anxiety and depression recovery guide. You can find a link in the description and comments below. There, I give you this beautiful anxiety and depression recovery guide, and there I explain about tips, tricks, and recipes and everything you need to know to get started on this journey, and also so you can learn why I pull out eggs and cheese. You might also notice there's a common thread with those foods that are high in protein. Well, they're also high in fat. Now, the issue with fat is that it's going to thicken your blood. If it's too thick, then you're not going to be able to hold the nutrients of oxygen and glucose and minerals and things like that, and hydration and water that you're going to need at the cellular level. And that could actually be, a high-fat diet could actually be creating nutrient deficiencies. Not only that, all that thick blood goes to your liver. Your liver's job is to has many jobs, has about 2,000 jobs. But your liver's job is to filter your blood, also to process the nutrients that you get from the food, and that's carried through your blood to the liver. If your blood is too thick, it's going to slow down your liver and not allow your liver to do its job, which is to filter and look for things like pathogens, to look for toxins, and to get them out of your system. I talked about a little bit about how your liver has a lot of jobs. So there's even more jobs. Your liver is what's responsible for taking the foods that you eat and converting it to the proteins. Now, I know most people think that if you eat protein, that's the building blocks to building muscle and repairing tissues and things like that. But that's not really how it works. Your body takes the nutrients, your liver takes the nutrients from all foods, mostly fruits and vegetables, in order to get the proteins to build the blocks of the muscles and repair tissues and things like that. There's this misconception out there that you need a lot of protein in order for your body to do that, but it doesn't. Other times I hear a misconception that your brain needs fat. Your brain needs fat, but what your brain really needs is ketones. And so you can only really get ketones if you're in ketosis. So otherwise, your brain needs glucose, really, and it needs minerals too. And if you look at people with Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that, you might actually notice that most of their diets have been a high-fat diet. All right, let's talk about this muscle building myth about needing protein. There's this push for protein powders and protein bars in order to make sure you get enough protein so that you can build muscle. But believe it or not, muscle and the definition of muscle in your body is made from minerals. So you've got your leafy greens, your vegetables, your green juices. Those are the minerals that are going to help you build muscle. When you have muscle atrophy, this is actual muscle loss or muscle wasting. And generally what this is either you are not moving your body at all, you're bedridden. That could be one issue. The other issue is that you might not be getting the nutrients you need in order for your body to function. And so your body might actually be breaking down that muscle to use it for fuel, to use it for your cells and things like that for you to survive. One of the markers I like to look for in the blood work that tells me that there's muscle atrophy, because it's not something I would visibly see. You might not visibly see this in your own body. You might feel a little bit like you've lost muscle or you've lost definition. The marker that tells us that there's muscle atrophy is creatinine. And what you want to look for in your blood work, this is on a metabolic panel, will show you that creatinine, if it's less than 0.7, is a good indication that you have muscle atrophy. When there's muscle atrophy, I would look for, okay, is it a high-fat diet? Is it low in fruits and vegetables? Or is there something else possibly going on that could be causing that muscle wasting? Another important component of muscle development, muscle building, is the ability to expand the muscle, right? The muscle has to grow, right? You've got hydration in there, and you've got for it to expand. Well, in order for the muscle to expand and grow, you need to make sure that there's no toxins in there, because toxins will interfere. That's like pollutants and just general things in your body that are not going to allow your muscles to grow and expand. All right, let's address satiety or satiation when you're eating. So clients sometimes will tell me that they don't feel satiated if they don't have some kind of meat or protein on board specifically. And I would argue that it's actually not the protein, but it's the fat that's making them feel satiated. The other way to feel satiated from your food is, again, it's a little bit of a mindset shift. It's a little bit of a concept shift, but you're eating more calories from your food, right? And the calories come more from the glucose-rich foods, so your fruits and your starchy vegetables. And so it's important to add those in to satiate you. Now, volume-wise, you're probably going to need a lot more volume on your plate of those foods than you would of a steak, right? A steak might be, or even a piece of chicken, right, be really small and dense, right? But the same amount of calories as you would from a big plate full of fruits and vegetables or starchy vegetables or lettuce, things like that. It's going to take up. Now, I will tell you that lettuce alone will not satisfy your hunger, right? You're going to have to eat a lot of lettuce to satiate you. It's important to have the glucose-rich foods in there too, like starchy vegetables. Successful healing starts with a low-fat diet. You're probably thinking, okay, Carrie, a low-fat diet, how much fat, what's the sources of fat, and what can I eat? So first, let me tell you misconceptions here too about fruits and vegetables, that they don't have protein. But in fact, they do. When you look up fruits and vegetables, they have a lot of protein. It's just a lot of little bits of protein, but it's going to build up to the amount of protein to likely get to your recommended daily allowance. Now, generally, I don't always believe in recommended daily allowance, but it seems to make a lot of sense for me personally. When I look at the recommended daily allowance, it says I need 45 grams of protein. And then I look at what I'm eating and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. You're asking, what can you eat? Two vegetables that are really high in protein, believe it or not, are raw spinach and nori. Nori, you probably know, is the seaweed that's in sushi. You can actually buy it in big sheets, and I love to buy it in big sheets and wrap all kinds of veggies and things in it and make a roll or a wrap. And, it's a great replacement for a sandwich. Potatoes, especially with their skins on. Skins are nutrient dense, rich food. The skins are high in protein. There's a couple ways to reduce your protein and therefore reducing your fat in your diet. And one is just to reduce the overall volume, right? So I like to kind of go for like fat-free meals or low-fat meals. So let's say you have a salad, and normally you put some chicken on your salad and some salad dressing, some olive oil, and some nuts. So maybe that's making it a high-fat diet. So maybe you either take off the animal protein, or you leave the nuts and seeds, or you make a dressing. You could even make a dressing, grinding up some cashews. That might be an option. And again, remember that avocado counts as a fat. So if you want that creaminess and you want to, that satiating feeling, add avocado to your salad, right? But not on top of chicken and on top of nuts and seeds and on top of dressing, because that really will make it a high fat meal. Other things you can do, again, are eating fruit all alone. I like to eat fruit for breakfast. And if you're going to eat animal protein, one of the best times to eat it would be at dinner, because that might be more of the time that you're with the family and you're going to have that traditional family meal. If you're eating animal protein 3 times a day, maybe you cut it down to once a day. And those other 2 meals, they could be fat-free, or you could just be low fat, right? So if you used to put 1/4 cup of dressing on your salad, can you cut it down to a tablespoon, right? And so just being aware of what foods and how much fat and protein you're eating, so that you can bring awareness to, like, how can I cut that down, right? Can I enjoy the flavor without so much fat? Even if you're plant-based or vegan, vegetarian, right? You could be eating too many nuts and seeds, nut butters, avocado, right? If you put all of those things on a salad, even as a vegan or vegetarian, that might be too much. And the same thing, whether you're eating animal protein. So if you were to eat a salad, right, with nuts and seeds and oil and olives and avocado, that's going to be a high fat food. So again, vegans and vegetarians, just watch all of your nuts and seeds, nut flours, almond milk, almond butter, all those things. To recap, we talked about the myths of needing a lot of protein in your diet, and the fact that a high protein diet is also a high fat diet, and how harmful that fat can be to your liver, to your blood, which could actually be inadvertently keeping you sick. We talked about how you want to stay away from fake meat, protein shakes, and protein bars. And we talked about, fruits and vegetables that are high in protein and nutrient dense all at the same time, and how you can use carbohydrates for that satiating feeling instead of fat, that you really need to increase the volume. So give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content of this video. If you have questions, I love to answer questions. If you're new here, say hi. Or if you just want to answer more questions about what I've talked about today, I love answering those. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time.